to you. What's going on, beautiful people? It's a beautiful day. Today is the Master Key System Part 13. You already know, my name is SeaJay. This book can help direct us into our highest desires, allow us to gather information about the energies around us, about how certain things may work in this life, and ultimately guiding us toward our purposes in life, getting us stable and being able to control our emotions and not allowing our emotions to control us, and realizing that we are the creators of our reality, and just how to go about that so that we're directing our reality, or we're creating a reality that we desire and not creating a reality that we do not desire from a place of ignorance or just lack of knowledge altogether. But anyway, I'm gonna go through the introduction, and then I have just a few little bullet points that I'm gonna go through and just kind of analyze through my own, perspective, and whatever you get, you get. So without further ado, let's get into it. Physical science is responsible for the marvelous age of invention in which we are now living. But spiritual science is now setting out on a career whose possibilities no one can foretell. Spiritual science has previously been the football of the uneducated, the superstitious, the mystical, but men and women are now interested in definite methods and demonstrated facts only. We have come to know that thinking is a spiritual process, that vision and imagination precede action and event, and that the day of the dreamer has come. The following lines by Mr. Herbert Kaufman are interesting in this connection. They are the architects of greatness. Their visions lie within the souls. They peer beyond the veils and mists of doubt, and pierce the walls of unborn time. The belted wheel, the trial of steel, the churning screw, are shuttles in the loom on which they weave their magic tapestries. Makers of empire, they have fought for bigger things than crowns, and higher seats than thrones. Your homes are set upon the land a dreamer found. The pictures on its walls are visions from the dreamer's soul. They are the chose few, the blazers of the way. Walls crumble and empires fall. The tidal wave sweeps from the sea and tears a fortress from its rocks. The rotting nations drop off from time's bow, and only things the dreamer make live on. Part 13, which follows, tells why the dreams of the dreamer come true. It explains the law of causation by which dreamers, inventors, authors, financiers bring about the realization of their desires. It explains the law by which the thing pictured upon your mind eventually becomes our own. So this introduction ties in spiritual science and physical science. And I feel as though spiritual science has been kind of left out in society, or kind of forgotten, or just, not entertained as much as physical science. Within physical science, we can measure things, we can see the development, it's tangible. Whereas in spiritual science, it's more so a knowing, or a lot of experiments that don't really give you an exact answer. So a lot of people aren't as entertained with that. It probably doesn't profit as much, and a lot of other things. But I feel as though we are getting back into the whole spiritual science, or if you don't like the term spiritual science, maybe you can use metaphysical science, to all my atheists out here that can't relate to certain spiritual terms or meanings. Metaphysical science, quantum physics, these things also tie in to what this book is talking about. But I feel like physical science can give us a lot of information and a lot of fulfillment and meaning to keep going forward. But it's not as loving and genuine and authentic as spiritual science. It's not as into the truth or into the unknown, where a lot of the truth lies. And I feel like a lot of people are trying to gain that knowledge back. We've been realizing that, okay, technologies they're advancing, they're getting great, but we are actually becoming separated from who we deeply are by technology, deeply being one with nature, one with the universe, and allowing our lives to give us happiness and joy instead of the short-term or short-lived, fulfillment or celebration that technology gives us, and then we keep looking for more. Spiritual science can actually bring us that fulfillment and love and knowing within self that physical science cannot. And so, that's just a little bit on the introduction. Now I'm going to go over to number 16. Thought will bring about conditions in correspondence with the predominant mental attitude. Therefore, if we fear disaster, as fear is a powerful form of thought, disaster will be the certain result of our thinking. It is this form of thought which frequently sweeps away the result of many years of toil and effort. So this is actually an example of spiritual science or metaphysical science, however you want to look at it. Because what you focus on grows. That's basically like a spiritual science. It's not a physical science because you can't measure that. You could, but it's kind of more termed spiritual science. And people are becoming really interested in these things because they're seeing the significance or the impact that it's causing, that it's having on their lives. And I just wrote a little bit down about this. So, what we focus on grows. When we tie emotion to our thoughts, it increases its potentiality. When the emotion is a powerful one, such as love, gratitude, fear, or hate, our thoughts become more tangible, accelerating them into our reality. That's kind of what this bullet was talking about, 16. Because whenever you realize that your thought is creative, your thoughts create. And whenever you have an emotion tied to your thought, maybe it's hate, which is a very powerful emotion. It's a very transforming emotion, just like love. But if you are hating something and you are thinking about something on top of it, whether it's the hate for a type of people or the hate for what people may be doing in this world, you will be manifesting more hatred in your life, because thought creates. What you focus on will grow. So instead of feeling the hatred and then thinking about, whatever it is you're thinking about, let's have an example. So if I hate the amount of misinformation in pharmaceutical companies and what they give us, and all of the lies or half-truths that they spill out to us just to gain our money or our energy. Certain companies, I use pharmaceutical just because. But if I'm focused on the hatred part of that, me hating it and wishing it was different, I'm going to be manifesting more hatred in my life. So instead of focus on hate, I want to focus on the love I have to maybe changing or showing people an alternative, or giving people the awareness that not all medications are good for you, slim to any. And me living in the emotion of love and doing these things, or wanting to bring awareness out of love instead of out of fear or hate, me hating so much that these things are being pushed into our society, and now I'm being led by hate. Going about it in a loving way will bring about more love, more abundance of love, instead of abundance of hate. So that's kind of just what I got from 16. If we fear disaster, as fear is a powerful form of thought, disaster will be certain. It will be the certain result as a if you fear, you're going to manifest more fear. If you hate, you'll manifest more hate. If you love, you'll manifest more love. If you're giving gratitude, you'll manifest more reasons to be grateful. So that's 16. Now let's go over to 22. We must put our knowledge into practice. Nothing can be accomplished in any other way. The athlete may read books and lessons on physical training all his or her life, but unless he or she begins to give out strength by actual work, he or she will never receive any strength. He or she will eventually get exactly what they give, but they will have to give it first. It is exactly the same with us. We will get exactly what we give, but we shall have to give it first. It will then return to us manyfold, and the giving is simply a mental process because thoughts are causes and conditions are effects. Therefore, in giving thoughts of courage, inspiration, health, or help of any kind, we are setting causes into motion which will bring about their effect. So this one may be a tough pill for some to swallow because it's kind of straightforward. But it's one thing to gain knowledge, read, or get told something, and it's another to actually put it into action. So by gaining experience and adding that experience to your gathered knowledge will bring you even more personal knowledge and just understanding. So I wrote some stuff down. If you know that thought is creative, meaning having the ability to create, hold thoughts that will direct you toward your desires. Eliminate thoughts that hold you back and cripple you. So if you're aware that your thoughts that you have are extremely impactful in your life, thoughts come before your actions, and then actions basically create who you are and the life you're going to live. So be very, very mindful about your thoughts and put them into action. So have thoughts of love and life and regeneration and abundance of the things you desire instead of fear and hatred and anger and stress. Put these things into action. And it was a beautiful example how it gave with the athlete who can read or gain all this knowledge, but if they never actually go out there and do anything, it's just a waste of knowledge, and really you won't ever truly deeply understand the knowledge until you start using it, trial and error experience. So don't be afraid to start. Don't doubt yourself, and don't cripple yourself if the things that you're doing, like you're actually going about this and trying to be more loving and be more kind and be more gracious, and things just still aren't working out. Don't be so hard on yourself, but you have to start, and you have to go through things and create errors or go through mistakes in order to gain more knowledge and be more knowledgeable about the whole situation or whatever you're trying to realize. So put your thoughts into action, just like I said in the other one. Instead of having thoughts of fear, let me give an example. Instead of wanting to go to college or be in a certain career because you are afraid of a lack of money, so then you're looking for a career that gives you the most money, and you're looking for stability because you're afraid of instability. So now you're trying to achieve goals out of fear. That is going to bring you unfulfillment in the future, and it might bring you fulfillment, but it won't be the most genuine fulfillment that you could feel because you've set those goals, you've set into action something that was based upon fear. So instead, find love in your heart. Figure out the things you love, and then be guided by love and find a career that you love. Money will flow. Stability will flow. Those things will come. Don't be so attached to fear that you allow yourself to live a life that you don't necessarily want just so you can fit in or, not, I don't know, be left out or whatever the case may be. Be led by love and not by fear. That's what I get from 22 and put it into action. So now let's go over to the application. We can best conserve our interest by recognizing the infinite power and infinite wisdom of the universal mind, and in this way become a channel whereby the infinite can bring about the realization of our desire. This means that recognition brings about realization. Therefore, for your exercise this week, make use of the principle. Recognize the fact that you are a part of the whole, and that a part must be the same in kind and quality as the whole. The only difference there can possibly be is in degree. When this tremendous fact begins to permeate your consciousness, when you really come into realization of the fact that you, not your body, but the ego, the I, the spirit which thinks in its integral part of the great whole, that it is the same in substance, in quality, in kind, and the Creator could create nothing different from himself or herself. You will also be able to say, the Father and I are one, or the Father and Mother and I are one, whichever you want. And you will come into an understanding of the beauty, the grandeur, the transcendental opportunities which have been placed at your disposal. So this application is beautiful. Tap into your oneness and figure out what oneness is for you, because each individual is on their own journey, needing to realize their own thing in this life in order to get to where they need to go. So oneness may be different from each individual, and that's okay. We should be diverse and, unique and have different perspectives, or else the whole world will be thinking one way and it'll be pretty boring. But tap into your oneness. Whenever you realize your oneness, realize that who you are, your essence, is the same as everything else around you, the same as the Creator you believe created you. You are the Creator. You are the omnipotent power. Whenever you tap into that, you realize that everything you want, you already have. Everything you ask your Creator for, you already have those things. You will deeply understand this, and not understanding it just because I'm telling you, or because somebody's telling you, or because you read this book. Practice this. Try to see the oneness. Like in a video, I think the last video I did, I talked about how I started to realize my oneness. My example was, think about us coming into this world. Every soul, every person who comes into this world, whether person, plant, animal, whatever it is, every soul, every essence that comes into this world, whether the essence gets implanted into a seed that is the sperm and the egg, or a seed that is, an acorn that fell from a tree, the essence that gets into the seed, the life that penetrates that seed, is the same. The only thing that makes us different, a human or a plant, or, me different from you and being, my skin color and having the thoughts I have, is my development within the seed. The mother, the thing that my mother is different from your mother, and her mother is different. So then I started to develop these things. My mother ate certain things. My mother said certain things and had certain actions while I was in the womb, which also created and impacted my life. And then I got out into my environment, and then I was raised, and but before all of that, we were all the same. We just got put into a seed, and then whichever seed that was, and the development of that led to the happening that is now. So that's like one way you can look at oneness. Like we all come from the same source. We are all the same. The only difference is one in degree. And degree being development, environment, situations. But at the end of the day, we were all the same. And that's just an example. Just practice this. That's basically one practice, because you're practicing trying to understand your oneness. And the more you practice, the more you seek, the more you will be given, the more information you will be given, the more you will realize. And it's going to keep expanding and expanding and expanding and expanding. When I first started this whole thing, before I even knew what this book was, these are things that I was doing. And I wouldn't understand myself. I would be like, okay, so how should I pray? Who should I pray for? Because I was religious and I was atheist and then spiritual and now whatever I am, I don't know, just an evolvement, just an unfolding. But in the beginnings, like it would almost be frustrating, or like, oh my gosh, am I doing the right thing? I don't know. But that's all a part of trial and error. And now I'm more secure in myself and more secure in my beliefs. Not so secure that they're rigid, because they're always changing, they're always fluctuating. But I'm not as doubtful anymore when I create a belief. And I also know that my beliefs aren't rigid, so I'm able to manipulate or change them and construct them in a way that will lead me to my desires. I don't stick to just one belief just because I read a book or I read something and then all of a sudden I came to this knowing, or I came to this realization. I don't hold that realization too close. I keep allowing myself to evolve. But realizing your oneness will help you obtain all the answers that you want. Come to realization so that you can start to make decisions that will lead you into a path that you desire instead of one that you don't. So for this application, practice trying to see your oneness. There's all types of ways you could practice: meditations, journaling, psychedelics. Hey, I'm not encouraging, but I'll throw it out there. Psychedelics aren't for everybody. And also for all my people that are on here that do practice psychedelics, realize that psychedelics is just a doorway. You don't just walk up to a doorway and stand in there. You go through it. So don't hold on to psychedelics too much. Psychedelics are great. I love Terrence McKenna. If you're a psychedelic enthusiast, you know all about Terrence McKenna, I'm sure. If not, I put you on. But like I said, psychedelics is just a doorway. Don't sit in the doorway for too long. Allow the psychedelic to bring you realization and oneness, and everything else is going to bring you. Probably your demons will rise and everything, and you'll have to face those as well. But don't sit in them and psychedelics, and don't continue to consume so heavily, because they're just a doorway. Get through it. It's just a phase. All right. But anyway, that's the application. That's it for today. That is Master Key System Part 13. I hope this has brought you some type of realization or different types of way of thinking, or I hope it touched your heart in some way. Or even if you're just on here just watching me, just watching the background, listening to the music, listening to my voice, or whatever the case may be, I hope you enjoyed this video. There is more to come. There is much, much love here for everybody. Like, share, subscribe. I love the love. Hey, until next time, but you have a beautiful day, all right? Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings.